station at the park.
All right, thank you everybody, and want to start off the Village of Marvin Parks Recreation and Greenway Board meeting here on December 1st at 9:03 a.m. I do see that we have myself, Bob, Christina, and Dan. So we do have a quorum, and we also have our council liaison, Kimberly, as well. First item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. And I do know that I did have a request that we add under unfinished business items a number 5, which would be a discussion or update from Rohit on the CRTPO Marvin Loop application. And do I hear a motion on the floor to add that to the agenda?
And you can adopt it in one motion.
So moved.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Item number 4 in the agenda items is the adoption of the minutes from November 3rd. I know we had received those previously in our packages. Hope everyone has had a chance to review. Any questions, updates, additions, or things like that anyone feels necessary on the minutes? Do I hear a motion on the table to adopt the November 3rd, 2020 Village of Marvin Parks Recreation and Greenway Board meeting minutes as they are written?
So moved.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye.
So I need a second.
Second.
Okay.
I'll second.
Then Christina.
All right. Next item is public comment period, and we don't have any public here, but is there anyone online that wishes to comment in public comment period? Okay. Moving along then, we'll move on to the Public Facilities Manager's update. And the first item for Derek to discuss is the roundabout update.
As you probably saw, the plantings have been put in on the roundabout, and they should be out there today doing up some final touches and putting the mulch in. So.
We were good with them.
That looks great.
We were good with them dumping all the dirt on the corner property.
They didn't dump all of it. I asked them to dump a little bit per
Okay.
Mike.
Perfect.
Mike,
Okay.
Mike.
Just checking. I was like, I hope that was requested.
Yeah, Mike wanted some of it for
Perfect.
the Greenway.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
It does look good, by the way.
I didn't actually notice it when I came through, but
What? I did not notice that.
well, I had a guy that was pulling out in
So you
front
were
of
watching
me
the
as I was
traffic,
doing the
not
roundabout. I was
yeah.
watching the traffic.
Yeah,
But
it is a conundrum. You're supposed to watch the cars and not look at the.
I know.
yeah, I know that we were discussing both of them. Was it both of them or?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay, so we're moving forward with both right now at the same time.
Oh yeah, they're 95%.
They did the bulk of the work in like a day, right? It was kind of amazing.
Yeah, about 2.5 days on all the planting, the grading and the plantings. Just have to come back with the mulch.
Yeah, I was wondering where the mulch
I need
was.
a crew like that.
It looks good though.
It does look good.
All right, good.
All right, the next item is item number 2, Telemorph Phase 2 update.
Yeah, just Telemorph Phase 2 is complete,
Yeah.
minus cleanup on the roadway there where the materials were dumped. But if you haven't been out there, Dan, have you been out there since they finished and run it?
Yeah, no, I've been on it a couple times. I think since they finished because the equipment was gone. It looks good.
looks
It
good.
looks really good. It stays fairly dry most of the time.
We've got a water issue out there though.
Is it?
Yeah, I was walking, Judy and I were out there over Thanksgiving. I wanted to show her the trail. We walked the entire way, but there's 2 spots holding water, and it's before the big rain,
Phase 1 or phase 2?
phase 1.
Phase 1, okay.
Yeah.
I think I know about those.
Yeah. Phase 1's holding some water,
Okay,
but it does look really good.
good.
Let me ask you, while we're on Telemorph,
Uh-huh.
Marvin Creek's got a path
Mm-hmm.
Just on the other
other
side.
side, parallel. Is there any consideration at some point doing a loop
Like connecting them?
connecting the two? So, because right now it's you park out on the road,
Yeah.
you walk out, you walk back, because there's no, it's no fun walking through the neighborhood because we're not in the city. So, I was just curious as to whether or not we could bridge the creek or not at some point, if Marvin Creek wanted to, and make a nice loop out of it. So it's just something, instead of up and back, it's a nice loop.
That was discussed early on.
I think it was discussed. I
And,
think there were mixed
Marvin
emotions
Creek.
from Marvin Creek
Yeah.
because it's technically their private walking path, you know?
Oh, so they weren't in favor of that.
Well, Marvin Creek also had some other issues at the time, so, with the village, as it had to do with gates and stuff like that. So there was some contention at that time also going on.
I think it has come up again recently.
Yeah, I don't know if
I don't know.
It just seemed to make some sense.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully Tullamore it by itself will be a loop. It'll go up and start working its way towards Amber Meadows
Right.
and, and
Come back that way.
come back out to Tom Short. So
Right.
it
Yeah.
itself will be, a nice big, over a mile.
Well, it's a pretty walk. Yep. I think it's a great job.
Well, and I think the discussion too is that at some point, the folks from Marvin Creek may internally say, we'd like to connect to the other,
Right.
so.
I mean, I don't think it hurts to have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey,
Or
what's
just-
what's the temperature check with?
Yeah, just
Connected.
always kind of keep the door open
Yeah.
if and when they're ready.
Yeah. For both of those items, can we get just an update like on our website, not our website, or the email blast and like on Nextdoor that it take more pictures once the mulch is done, that it's all finished now, go look at it, looks great, and then update phase 2 that it's finished at Tullamore, go check out the new trail.
Yeah, I'm actually hoping to have a couple little blurbs on the new website,
Okay,
if I can learn how to put content
I
on
bet you
there.
can.
And
You're
what
smart.
about-
They're
what about-
also going to be mentioned in that year in review newsletter. That
Okay.
I'm
I'm
finishing
just
up
thinking
now.
like just 2
Yeah.
individual, just a.
I do need, I will need
Yeah.
pictures though. If you take some pictures next
Yeah,
time you're
and
out.
I'll have some pictures for you guys
John, have you walked the
for
one
next
back here?
Tuesday.
I haven't walked the one back here yet. No.
But it's complete, right?
Oh yeah, it's been. How's it holding up? Have you been?
I hadn't been on it.
Yeah.
My son goes on the end part of it all the time to go fish. He says it's great.
I like it. The stones a
I
little.
have a question.
Yes,
So we get closer to the camera, maybe that helps.
Yeah, sure.
Do we have a map that just shows the trails that are in existence today?
Sounds like
Not the ones that are proposed, but just the
That's a
ones that
great
I could go walk on.
I think
sounds
we
like a
did.
planner question.
That's an excellent question. Rohit?
I think we did.
Cannot hear you, Rohit.
Rohit, we can't hear you.
I can hear you. Okay, how about now?
That's better.
Yeah.
Alright. So we don't have a map that only shows the existing trails, but there's the Parks and Greenways plan map that show the existing trails as of May. But if you want me to create kind of like a brochure kind of map, it would be pretty trivial because all I would have to do is add a little more to it.
Yeah, I think
I
something
think it would be helpful to put on the new website
very
for,
simple.
well, not just new people, but anybody who wants to go walk. I can't walk on a proposed trail, but I can go walk on one that exists.
Yeah, I think that would be
And it's a lot confusing, that's all.
yeah.
I think also the resolution is tough. Like you
Yeah,
can see where it is, but you can't see where to park exactly on the, at least I'm thinking of the maps from the master plan. It's hard to know exactly where you're going, based on the master plan maps.
But that's not a map for a user. It's not for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
be great.
Question, not that it matters, but just to float the idea out there, if we are talking about the Marvin Creek Trail connection, whenever we're looking at getting to the ice cream on the other side, that's kind of the same type of bridge. And I don't know, we've been designing some pretty interesting, like off-the-shelf, pre-manufactured bridges that you can buy. Not that there's any deal if you buy two exactly, but maybe it's almost the exact same crossing that we're doing. So if we can somehow coordinate those being done by the same contractor at the same time, we might get some savings if those are done, you know.
Sounds good.
I like your motivation.
For us.
Ice cream.
I like the optimism. There you go.
I like both.
All right. Anything more on public facilities managers update there?
No, I'm good if y'all are good.
All right, next item is unfinished business. Item number 1 is discussion of pocket park proposals. And I know that a couple of weeks ago, Austin was able to send us kind of a snapshot of what the property looks like over there in Publix. I don't know if folks have had a chance to actually get out over there to kind of see the lay of the land and what we're working with. I guess just one question that if I could start out with was when I was looking at what was sent to us, which was kind of the proposed thing, is the little parking area in the same place as it was shown on there?
Yes.
It is, okay. So I guess it was more just me kind of wondering, you know, how much room is that really the full acre? So pretty much the full acre that we have is what's in front of the parking lot, not a lot of the woods on the backside.
Correct.
Right, it doesn't include the wood, but it does include the parking lot.
In fact,
Okay.
In fact.
So the parking lot forward to the road.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, the woods.
Rohit, we can barely hear you.
Yeah, you're kind of low again.
Okay, how's that?
There you go.
Sorry, I'm trying to talk with the mic since it's not working, I guess. Anyway, so it's from the back side of the parking lot all the way to the sidewalk on Providence Road. That's our scope.
Okay.
How much land is it again? Acreage?
Just an acre.
1.05.
That's right.
Yeah, it's 1.05 acres.
Yeah.
And if you've been out there, you'll see a row of landscaping,
Yeah.
like a hill from the sidewalk. That's basically where the right-of-way would end for the sidewalk, for the Providence Road widening. So when you're planning for your two-phase park, that's kind of where you plan up to.
To stay in.
So it ends up being like a third
Yeah.
of an acre, basically.
It's, I think maybe closer to a half, maybe 2/3. It's a lot bigger than just a third, but it's definitely not the whole acre that you have for the park. You have the parking lot and the trail.
Yeah, it looks more about 2/3 of it.
Yeah,
On
about
the
2/3.
and it says proposed primary monument sign. That's the public sign, right? That's not
Yes.
reference to some.
Correct.
Right, that's a public sign that you can already see there today.
Okay. I just didn't know if it meant proposed like sign for the pocket park.
No,
Yeah, gotcha.
And what is the purpose of the gravel path that's indicated on the plot?
yeah, so you can see that the gravel path goes all the way to the property line and ends there. The intention was that Weddington Chase would tie into it from there, and that they would just cut through their own HOA property, and they would have a continuous connection to the public's main drive sidewalk.
Okay. Any further discussion? Did anybody else have a chance to go out and actually see the site yet and kind of look it over? Any thoughts, you know, on the things and the ideas that we may start to move forward in kind of how we handle it? It's a pretty nice little thing now. If you even had just, you know, a couple of picnic benches or things like that, especially for folks that, you know, go into Publix. They've got a lot of pre-made foods, things of that nature, which, you know, folks might be able to just enjoy, you know, or, you know, rather than eating in their car if they're, you know, stopping there during work or something like that. So, you know, I think initially one of the things we might look to is, you know, just put a couple of picnic tables or things over there. But any ideas on further development of the things that we might want to see there, or do we want to kind of let that kind of ruminate and get some ideas as we kind of move forward?
Well, I
Bob and I went a couple of weeks ago, I don't remember when that was now, Bob, and walked around in there, and we talked about potentially a pollinator type of garden, as low maintenance as possible, but with some, you know, obviously picnic tables and stuff like that. Most of the plants that are in that little area, they're all either invasives or just scrubby little, you know, things that you wouldn't feel bad about cutting down, or I wouldn't feel bad about cutting down.
Are there any big trees that will provide shade?
well, yeah, well, there's only.
Yeah, there's mostly
one.
privet and backrest.
You know what a privet ligustrum is? Well,
That's,
it's a non-deciduous plant with waxy leaves,
Oh, okay.
and they have a purple berry, really nice for wildlife.
Yeah.
But there's this huge group, a lot of people make hedges out of them. These have become trees because they've not been maintained.
Are they big enough, like you put a picnic table under and get
No,
shade?
these are
Oh,
clump, they're
okay.
just a clump of trees. There's nothing particularly pretty about them.
I was just thinking for
they're
like,
considered
shade if
invasive.
you're, if you're having a picnic lunch.
On the other side, there's a magnificent oak tree of the parking lot, not on our side.
What did you guys call?
Yeah, there's a couple of nice
Yeah.
trees, but most
Yeah,
of
for the
it's
land.
junk.
I'm sorry.
What kind of park were you saying this would be? This your idea?
Pollinator.
Pollinator, or butterfly
Pollinator.
garden.
Pollinator
something
garden.
like that, maybe.
And try to keep it, obviously, as low maintenance as possible, because no one wants to maintain things. That's not fun.
Yeah.
That's a good plan.
So I did a quick check of the map. We've got 0.3 acres up to the between the parking lot and the wires, like the overhead electric wires. And then we probably got about 0.5 acres if you include up to the right-of-way, through the right-of-way in there total. And the right-of-way eats up some of that.
That's a lot of space to manage, right? I mean, it's,
Will there be restaurants in that,
you can
in
fit lots of
that
them.
development, in the Publix development? Will there be restaurants in there?
There is one slated.
Yeah, it seems they're building.
Not on that side of the main drive, but on the other side of the drive, there's gonna be 4 out parcels, and where, if you've been out there, you see what's now started. There are gonna be 4 independent buildings like you'd see in a normal shopping center that are in the front of it, like kind of drive-through things with parking around the outside of it. But yeah, there's gonna be things that are walkable, that are like right there in the park, later. Okay.
All right, well, I think maybe if we can, you know, start out, what do we expect that we would need from a maintenance perspective anyway there that we'll have to plan for? Because even if it's grass, you know, then we still have to, you know, keep that, you know, knocked down to some degree.
If you get turf, you don't have to cut it.
Turf. Is
I would really love to not cover it in grass, if we could possibly do that. One of the things that Bob and I talked about was that because it's so right there, you know, kind of in your face at the road, we could really kind of make a statement about things that you can do that aren't grass, that support wildlife and all of that. So maybe kind of a group project with marsh or something like that.
Well, and it's funny because, you know, where I live, I have 5 acres, right? And in any given year, there's certain sections of it that I just say, let the weeds grow, you know?
Yeah.
And it's pretty amazing how beautiful, if you just let some of those weeds grow, the ones that almost look like cotton and different things like that, but it's very interesting, you know, when you just let the weeds grow, kind of what they can kind of turn out to be. Now, eventually you have to kind of knock them down and stuff like that. You know, I'd say one of the things that we do maybe is kind of just let it go a little bit, at least into the spring, because nothing's really going to grow a whole lot right now, and kind of see what's there, you know, and if there are some natural areas that we want to kind of just leave natural, you know, it might kind of expose itself where there's some nicer plants or things like that we just don't see right now.
Yeah, it's possible there's some spring stuff in there. It looks like most of what's there, like it was cleared fairly recently, and the stuff that's grown back is the stuff that will grow super fast, and the stuff that you're talking about, the cottony stuff, that's called Baccharis, and it's actually a native, but it's an aggressive native.
Yeah.
In other words, it's invasive. But you can't say it's invasive because it lives here. But, you know, and so it looks really cool. Unfortunately, it will cover the place and everybody else's place. But anyway, your point, yeah, there's no telling what's in there in the spring.
So am I walking,
Good morning. Morning.
let me ask you a question real quick. Am I understanding correctly that we're talking about putting picnic tables in there for families to use in the event they use restrooms within that shopping center, correct? Or am I wrong on that?
I think that's one of the ideas.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
whether we make that happen.
Well, I was just wondering if it wouldn't make sense to incorporate both ideas. To put tables in there, but a large part of that area would be natural, and again, wild plants to attract pollinators, like Christina said, and make it a butterfly garden and have a multi-use area for it. And that would be very low maintenance.
Yeah.
What's the multi-use?
Pollinator and a picnic table.
Yeah,
Okay.
for people to go out and use.
Well, you say multi, to me, I think like people can do multiple things, but if you put a pollinator garden in there, that's, people aren't doing anything with it other than looking at it,
Then we
right?
can call it a single use.
Okay.
But it would be low maintenance. One of the things we were kicking around, Dan and I were talking about, was a dog park. I know nothing about dog parks,
Yeah.
but I know it would require fencing and liability and maintenance and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awfully close to a road
Yeah.
With small.
for dogs.
So what,
Yeah.
what I'm hoping for, this would be a very low maintenance project for us.
Well, and I think low maintenance is the key too, because, you know, the developer has kind of given us this land. I think they'll have a certain expectation that it'll at least be kept up and not become an eyesore.
Right.
So, yeah, to the extent that we, you know, do it in ways that, you know, keeps it looking nice, you know, but also, you know, it'll be a balance of what we really need to do. So, you know, kind of waiting till the spring, I think, to some degree, other than if we do decide to put, you know, a couple of picnic tables out there to serve the people that, you know, right now, you know, could benefit from parking their car there and having a lunch.
There's a pollinator garden at my kid's school, and it's small, right? It's just a little strip. With what you're envisioning, is there enough room for a pollinator garden with picnic tables and some trees that would grow to provide shade for those picnic tables?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Or trees are pollinators too, if you plant the right trees.
I'd love to see a sketch of that with the third of the acre that Dan is mentioning, you know, that's left, like, and get a visual of what that would look like. And, you know, if it's done in, with no grass, then there's low maintenance, you know, and have your garden, have some picnic tables.
Well, I think John brought up a great point. If you're the developer and you put a brand new shopping center in, you'll want that parcel of land to look nice.
Yeah.
So,
And,
consider that as well.
And I guess one other thing too, I don't know the extent to which we'll also need to maintain at least some strip of the vegetation right off the road or anything like that. But if we are required to do that, maybe we talk to whoever's doing the landscaping and stuff for the Publix there. Because I think we've had situations like that in the past where, you know, they said, oh yeah, for another $50 a month or something, we'll do that. And that makes a whole lot more sense than even us sometimes having to go out and do something with it. So,
Good idea.
Just to keep that in mind as we kind of look at these different options. There's people right there doing a lot
How
of
far
work.
in is the new roadway gonna come? Is it coming right up to the electric lines?
I don't think it's that, Rohit, as far as the easement, I know they have that large an easement, but I don't know that they're necessarily using all that. And I forget again if we're going to which side the sidewalk's on at this point in time.
Well, there are sidewalks on both sides. The 8-foot or 12-foot wide, however, is going to be, the wider one is on the Market Garden thing. But you can see there's a row they planted of one row of little trees on the top of the hill. And that's where I kind of estimated based on the drawing also that that's what the right of way is going to come up to.
Got it.
It's not that far. Kind of recalling from when I was standing there, it's about 15 feet back from the sidewalk.
Okay, thanks. No, that's helpful. So we shouldn't do anything beyond those trees, that row of trees.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I would be happy to, if I could get a plat that showed which area we actually can do something with too. I don't know how to say that. I'd be happy to try to sketch something off and probably call Miss Mary Sight to help me out with that, and I think she would. If that would be something you guys would be interested in, and it would be really low maintenance stuff. I don't want to go maintain it.
Question.
You know, and this is one of the problems that we have with the cottage garden at the park. It's pretty low maintenance, but it still requires a good bit of work. And I think it'd probably end up being about that same size. But we could do a lot less plants and a whole lot more mulch and walking area, and that would cut it back, the work part.
Would this be a
And the
good,
butterflies don't care. They fly, you know, from plant to plant.
would this be a good Eagle Scout project? Or would you guys kind of want your hands on it a little more?
That's a good question.
I-
The problem, I mean, putting it in is really the easy part. It's the maintaining thing, and I understand that Eagle Scouts don't get bonus points for that stuff.
I thought we were going for low maintenance.
Well, but there's always maintenance, unless you literally leave it like it is and let it just take over. You know what I'm saying? There's always gonna be something.
Yeah, I think we've got some time to still, you know, we're not necessarily gonna be planting things here in December is a real good time right now anyway. So, you know, I think, you know, having this discussion, having everybody had a chance to kind of see it the first time, understanding a little bit better of how it lays out in the easement, maybe over the next month and take another trip out there with a little more knowledge that we have, and you know, by January we'll have a better idea of some of the things that we think we can do with it, and then go from there.
I would say if we can have some sort of sketch for the January meeting of what you guys are talking about, because I love the idea of like a pollinator garden, but I don't know what that's going to look like. So kind of like lay it out, see what you think, because where I do think we've got time to, you know, before we have to plant anything, this may be a good time to clean everything out when it's dying and dead and dormant, and we can kind of get everything cleaned out, mapped out, and so, you know, come March or February, March, April, whenever you want to plant, we're ready to go when we have a plan. You know, to go forward.
Well, I think
Because if you present it in January, then we can look at it at our January meeting, probably, or the same day.
well, there's a lot of things.
Usually there are
I know, I'm
a
just
couple of
thinking.
days or a week.
Well, John, to your point, there's a lot of things I think we can do. One is get up with the landscaper for the development and find out if they would even be willing to take care of the minimal landscaping needs. Find out if we can do that or cannot do that. And I don't know who should be on point for that, but there are certain questions I think we can get answered in the next month or two that'll really help us determine what we should or shouldn't put in.
Yeah.
You know? Who would take that on? Is that?
Yeah,
is
either
that you?
Derek or, yeah.
But what would you ask them to maintain?
I was thinking more just a basic strip so that, that's when people think things, even if you have a kind of a clean strip back to a natural area that's overgrown, they see that better than if things are just coming all the way up to the road. So I'm thinking even just, a minimal thing where they're just running their mowers an extra 100 feet.
Gotcha.
Outside the easement, I'm saying.
And then that'll keep us from having to worry about it. Because
I
if all of a sudden,
just didn't know what we were talking, like,
yeah, no, I was thinking just basic upkeep until we have a better idea of what we're doing with the other things
okay.
along those lines. And we don't even necessarily need that now because stuff's not really growing much right now.
Okay.
So where does that leave, what are we doing?
So I think maybe if each of us come back with some more ideas, we do have that little map that he sent out, so as you maybe print that out and take that to the park and just kind of imagineering, how each of us might see a little layout where you might put some tables. If you're gonna plant a couple of trees that'll eventually become larger, where might be a good place for them where, they'll be appropriate and not break up everything too much either,
I definitely think some sketches would help for the January meeting.
Yeah.
Should we start with one sketch and then comment on that, or do you want to each do one?
I mean, I think if more than one person wants to do one, they can, or if you guys want to kind of just have Christina do it, I think that's fine too.
I think there should be several different looks.
Yeah, I'd say
I don't
maybe
wanna go
everybody
with
kind
just
of do it,
one.
we take
Yeah.
a look at each one and, kind of work and mash them together
Get
from
some
there.
ideas.
I might get the company that did the roundabouts, if they won't charge me to, maybe kind of make their proposal of what they would do and do a sketch.
Yeah, the type of plants we're talking about are
Right.
probably similar to
Similar.
the type of maintenance we want to provide even
With
in
the
the
exception of
roundabouts,
adding the trees that you mentioned.
Yeah,
So you all want to table this discussion to January?
yeah, table the discussion and with the intent that we all kind of take another chance to look at it and, just print out a sheet and maybe, jot some notes and things down of what we kind of feel there.
And Derek is going to find out what the landscapers are willing to maintain, is that, because you guys are really garbled, and I can understand Dan and Rohit really well, but you guys not so much, so I'm piecing this together. Somebody's going to find out whether the landscaper's going to take care of some of this?
Yeah, Derek was gonna reach out and, to whoever their existing, company is and, just so we have an idea of what it'd be if, just for them to do some minimal things there.
And is it possible, Derek, that if you find that out, like in the next week or two, that you could just shoot us all an email and update us, so we know that going in?
Sure.
Meaning, like, if we're trying to do a sketch, we could say, we're not gonna worry about this part right here.
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be helpful. Thank you.
And do we need on the map to show where the right-of-way starts? Because I'm not sure does that show, like where that line of trees you talked about, Rohit, was? We don't have that right now, right?
Right, and I would really like to send you guys, like last month, I just asked Austin to send this live, just announced, but I would really like to send an updated map that really shows, what we're working with. So I'll try to send that out within this week, so you have a more detailed map.
Yeah, cause
That would be awesome.
Because I was also looking to kind of go on Google Maps to look at it, but their maps are kind of behind, so it doesn't show things yet on that corner as far as the development. So I was trying to kind of visualize some things that way, but the maps weren't updated yet, so that'd be helpful.
And it might be worth showing the detail of the width of the electrical line there, because it is pretty wide, and
Yeah.
you have to stay away from that with anything. It eats up a pretty good chunk of where trees aren't gonna be able to go, that are in a big height.
Yeah, because certain trees you can't put under those, yeah.
But that gives you some space for lower pollinator type of plants. That would be awesome.
Gravel.
Yeah.
We'll decorate the power line.
But where are they gonna go?
There you
I
go.
know, that makes, it should just,
Yeah.
Again, the butterflies don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, row it. Quick question. I want to go back to the gravel path. Why is the gravel path going out to Providence Road?
To pick up the sidewalk there. That's it, so whenever they build the sidewalk and they
Here,
expand
Okay.
that's why it's going out there.
there he goes.
Yeah, actually, I don't know. That was in the original plan, from
But I
2016.
guess my question is, if I lived in Waddington Chase,
we can just walk straight out the plaza.
yeah, walk straight up and pick up the sidewalk.
Right. I mean,
So
back
that's-
in the beginning,
So that's not a fixed entity, correct? That's something that could be removed. Is that correct?
yeah, it is just gravel, and
Okay.
once they turn it over, we can do whatever we want with it.
Okay. Alrighty.
Now, if you were to put your tables kind of out here around the edges,
Right.
that would be good access from the parking lot to them, but I don't know how close you want to get to the
I was
road.
gonna say,
Yeah.
so
Sit
noise.
in.
You'd probably more want to be along
Yeah.
the other
That's
side.
near the parking lot.
Okay, all right, you want to move us?
All right. Anything else on this one? I think we've got our marching orders for next month. The next is item number 2 in unfinished business, which is the Greenway flooding proposal. And so here we're talking about just next to Marvin Ridge over there, that area we've been discussing.
Marvin Elementary?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Marvin.
The engineer for the town has brought back a few different proposals with different state contractors, and it's roughly going to be about $20,000. I'm going to take it to council next week. I think it's just a hair under $20,000 to raise that portion of the trail up and repave it. Has anybody seen it in the recent rains?
I have.
And
I was gonna say,
And it's draining well.
I think with that berm, we may have fixed the problem. I think $20,000, I would hold off on spending that money.
I agree with Dan. I walk it all the time, and it's not retaining water like it did since y'all changed the berm.
I think it's draining better too.
Yeah, I'd hold off.
I think you stop the water, there's no contributing area that comes into that other than from across the road. So it can handle its own water that it gets in a rainfall, but it can't handle is when the road, across the road was draining into it, and that was flooding in. And when it did the ditch again, it built up a berm and stuff on there. And actually, I think the guys that just went in there tore a lot, some of that down potentially, so we might need to burn up again. But $20,000 to raise that up, I just think it's a waste of money. Unless we see problems after we've stopped the water from coming onto that property, which is cheap to do.
I agree.
And sometimes that's what it takes, is to just, make a little change, see how it does over time. And, we'll continue to monitor it. But
It hasn't flooded in the last 4 months or something like that, for sure.
yeah, and we've had a couple of pretty decent
Rains.
3-4 weeks ago. We had that real bad one, and if it didn't do on
I
that
think
one,
we might find that the guys out there, they were cleaning up the power lines, knocked down some of the ditch that was created and kind of filled in a little bit the berm, because they were chopping up the
The trees.
the remainder of what was there with their skid loader and the front end bucket. The attachment, I can't remember what they called the attachment. They were chopping up all the small branches there. But I think they squished down the berm and spread it around a little bit and also filled up our ditch a little bit. So we might have an issue now that we find, but I think the way to fix that is to re-ditch it and make that berm, keep water from going into that area from across the road, keep it in the ditch.
Okay.
Derek, is that something that you can talk to the power company about? They
Um,
squished it down, it's DOT's right of way there, and that's DOT's berm, and if the power company squished it down, and they've had it there for a reason, they ought to go back and fix it. We should not have to go back and fix it, and DOT shouldn't have to go back and fix
Yeah.
it.
I'll get with Rohit and we'll figure out a game plan.
Okay.
I agree with PRG, or Dan and Bob. I don't think it needs to be done just yet.
Well, let's watch it, and listen, if it floods 3 more times, then okay, we gotta do something. But you guys said it hasn't flooded in
No.
4 months.
And it's supposed to be the recent changes to the berm?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the water was draining out
Mm-hmm.
instead of being retained. And
But Derek, I would definitely figure out, like, if the berm did get squished down, they need to come back and fix that. Because that's not, especially because it's the state's.
So he's gonna talk to the
Right.
power company?
yeah, DOT.
The engineer came up with a good solution, which was to keep the water from coming off the property into that property. And if we keep that from happening, if that happens again now, I would say we take a stab at keeping that from happening because we have to re-ditch a little bit and build that berm back up. But it seemed to have worked really well for very little money, which is great.
Yeah. I'd rather not spend the $20,000 on that.
So Derek has direction on that
Yeah.
to
Yeah, I got it.
speak to,
Union County.
All right.
All right, the next item is parking fees discussion follow-up.
I wrote this on the agenda to get some final official motion from you guys. I have a memo drawn up to take to council next week based on the discussions that you've had previously. But I can't remember if you guys made an official decision to make a recommendation to council to do away with the parking fees, or did you wanted to see the numbers?
Correct.
Is that right? Let me grab those real quick.
Kim, when, at the last meeting, you said you all were pretty perceptive to abolishing fees, correct?
That's what I thought. I thought we voted on it to get rid of them.
You guys gave us direction to repair stuff, but this,
Okay.
wanted to get their last bit of input.
Yeah, we were fine with it.
Sorry about that. What I can tell you as I'm booting up here, a majority of our revenue comes from the sale of professional passes, which I would never make a recommendation to do away with.
Correct.
That absolutely should stay. And I will be discussing later my recommendation to increase that because we are way behind on where other people are for that rate.
And I know mostly we're talking about photographers in that fee, but what other types of professionals, if any, are we getting there for,
So we
other
have,
than photographers?
yeah, the photographers are a lot, and then people who want to utilize the barn, exercise classes, and then people who,
So is that a
Utilize
barn
the
rental
ground.
or is that a professional fee?
it can be done either way. So like, if a dog training class, they can buy a professional pass and then just utilize the barn when it's available.
Okay, so, but they don't have any reservation to it? Gotcha. Okay.
Now, like the exercise classes, they have to reserve the barn.
That's what I would think, yeah.
But I don't know how Derek charges them for that.
Yeah,
There's some groups that just use the, like the fields, the facilities, there's a lady who trains kids on how to run cross country.
yeah,
And she just goes and uses the trails, but she buys a professional pass
gotcha.
every year.
It does seem like raising the professional passes would make quite a bit of sense. I think last time we heard they were pretty inexpensive, and it's certainly covered up in photographers all weekend
Yeah,
at the park, which is great, but
Derek, we currently charge for
good opportunity.
using the new
Picnic,
picnic area, correct?
yes.
If somebody wants to reserve it, yes.
for an event to be
Right,
reserved,
right.
yeah. But otherwise, people have access to it, yeah.
Do you think there's a distinction between residents renting the barn versus professionals renting the barn, or is there a distinction between that?
Say the question again.
Is there a distinction in the fees between residents renting the barn for like a birthday party or something versus professional renting the barn?
I think it's residents versus non-residents.
Yeah.
Not necessarily residents versus professional use.
Got it, okay.
All right, so our revenue,
But if you've got a professional, like a photographer who is a resident, sorry, do they get a different?
all right,
Right.
I'm gonna give you guys the revenue. I'm not gonna go into, just hold tight for a second. So the revenue by the years for 2018, we did $200 in non-resident passes. In 2019, 1,400. In 2020, 2,150.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and
That's
it's
a lot
increasing.
more than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, I did too.
That's annual non-resident passes. I mean, that's the growth of the area,
Dang.
the
There would be
popularity of
refunds
the
if you
park.
got rid of them.
That's a revenue stream.
Well, yes and no. I mean, it's $2,000.
Yeah,
Professional passes, 2018, $1,200. That was 12 professionals. 2019, 3,600. 2020, 4,700.
Okay.
So we're making our money back and then some on professional passes.
yeah.
How much is the professional pass right now?
$100 annually.
How much are other parks professional passes?
Honestly, I can't remember. It's my understanding that if a photographer goes to Mecklenburg County, that they're charged by the hour.
Okay. So if you can, what I'd like to see before we like make this decision, because that's a lot more than I thought it was going to be.
Which decision? On the
On
raising the
park-
professional
no, on
pass?
the parking, I'm getting rid of the non-resident parking pass. What I'd like to see is how many residents we had 2019, so if it's $100 and it was 3,600, so
Yeah,
we
are
did
those dated?
360 professional passes to 430 professional passes, whatever, they're $100 each, right? So figure out how many it is, and then figure out like, if we raise it $50 for the 430, whatever that covers.
Whatever the cost offset is. you know.
Right, those are the numbers that I want to see.
Yeah,
And-
it absolutely will.
And of the parking passes, would you say a lot of those are the $5 day fees or people paying $50 for the year?
Annual, they're the annual.
They're pretty much just annuals.
Yeah. This does not have the daily.
So,
Okay.
And
so
Derek,
annuals, if they're are they $50? So you're talking about for $2,150, that's about,
43 people.
yeah, 40 something people. That's pretty good.
It's a lot more.
And
than
it's
I
There's
thought.
some
growing.
barn rental
And
in
it's
there for
growing.
like parties and things.
We
Or is
just,
that not in those numbers?
That, barn rentals are not in those numbers.
and
I
we
think
did,
the last time we looked at that, Dan, it was around 6,000 or 7,000 for the last good full year we had.
But then, didn't we just raise all of our rates except for professional passes? Like we raised our rental rates,
We
correct?
raised the facility rental fees.
Okay, but not pass fees.
Correct.
Not passes.
Okay, so let's look at those.
Yeah.
Let's look at
And I know
those.
we can't count on it, and I think the approach is really good to look at how much we have to raise the professional fees to make up for the non-resident passes. But I do think that if we promoted a donation, you know, if it wasn't a fee-based park and you promoted a donation for use of the park, you would see some revenue from that
Yeah,
in some way.
I
I don't know
think,
how to quantify that, but you would get something.
yeah, I think you're right. But
If
I'd like to,
you-
I'd like to see those numbers.
If you raise the professional pass fee by 50%, go to 100 to 150, you would more than cover the difference in losing the annual non-resident pass.
So, but then it's a
Right.
lot.
Except
Then
for
you're
the
gonna
moment
run people off.
with what other people are charging.
You're going up 50% on their cost in 1 year. You may lose some revenue stream on that.
And to be honest, as much traffic as we're getting, I'm okay with that,
Okay.
with the professionals, because they're making out like bandits, you know? I'd rather see.
They're competing for the spots. Like I was there on Saturday, and they're like in a line waiting to get next to the good shot on the wall that's there by the cornhole area. Or you know, there's like 4 that cycled through, and they kind of were just waiting with the other family to get to their turn to get their shot up. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah, then our price needs to go up.
Yeah, I was told by a barn rental 2 Sundays ago, a guy that rented the barn, that they finally had to politely tell the photographers to stop opening the doors because they were having a barn event and the photographers kept, you know, trying to situate the barn as their backdrop. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, we saw that too.
so, and that's partly our fault. We should have had our signs out.
Barn rental.
Yeah, private party event.
Process.
Yeah, but it's an awesome problem to have. That's
It is.
great.
It is,
Yeah.
but.
Is
like
there
I said,
anything stopping us from asking for donations now? If we could get, would Eagle Scouts put up a, you know, a placard that says, you know, please donate kind of thing to the park?
Would that be something, I guess council would have to,
Well, and would that be a cash thing, like a cash box
I mean,
that
I'd
you
hate
gotta
to have
worry
like a
about?
cash box out there, somebody like come rip it off the barn wall, cause, you know,
Yeah.
there's cash in there and.
I mean, I would say the better way to do it would be to direct them to the website and a way for them to donate online. Because
Yeah.
that's the way people are paying
That's
90% of stuff anyway.
That's true.
And you don't have to worry about a cash
Cash.
box getting ripped off.
Could you put the QR code and they could Venmo it?
Yeah, we looked
Oh,
into.
Christina, you're getting fancy now.
Only people with college kids have Venmo.
Right, look, it's been a year, but Christina Davis and I looked into several different digital donation platforms. There are a lot that they just set you up, and you can have like a text or a QR code or any number of things. But they're all roughly around $25 a month. So you can have everything set up for you, but you have to be a little confident that you're going to be getting more than $25 a month.
Yeah.
You know, for it to be worth it.
Yeah.
I think we probably will, though, based on your numbers.
listen, I'm neutral on it, but I just want to kind of remind you guys of your original intent with this was, are we being welcoming?
Exactly.
Do you want people to come to the park?
Right.
You know, do you want staff burdened with monitoring parking passes? So I would say, make sure you revisit that.
Well, that goes to a question. The $2,100 in revenue, Derek,
Uh,
are there costs associated with that revenue? Is there a little?
staff manpower?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit. There's Nancy distributing the passes.
So there's a labor cost
And-
associated with it.
Yeah, and then there's staff enforcement.
And then physically getting the passes. I mean, like,
So that's
getting
not
like
a
the
net.
pass, like we have to pay for those, like the
Yeah.
village.
Yeah, so this
Oh,
is not a
yeah,
net
yeah.
number.
It cost us to
Right.
have those printed
Right.
and
My only point is, when you say 2,100, it sounds like a big number, but I'm assuming there's cost associated with that. It'll bring that number quite a bit down. And going back to the point, I just think the parks, to your point of what we've discussed in the past, if we can walk away from that, because if we can take costs up some other place to do an offset, I'm all for leaving it, letting it go. That's where I'm at.
Bob, how do you feel about the donation idea?
You, Bob.
What, Christina? I'm sorry. I can't hear, I've got my mask on.
He can't hear with his mask on. How do you feel about the donation idea?
I like it.
Yeah, I like
Even
that
I
too.
do a QR code.
You are so good.
Yeah, I like
That's
the
sad.
what Rick's talking about, even if it costs us some money.
That's sad.
The easiest way to do that, though, would be to have the web form. Just add to our list of things you can pay for online.
I agree.
That'd be the easiest way.
I'm sorry.
The easiest way to implement that would be to just put it with our make payments online or online payment
Right.
system. That's the easiest way.
Yeah.
It wouldn't cost anything
But I
extra.
do agree with Dan. I think there are a lot of people that would be willing to donate because
Is there-
it's a great park.
I guess this
Yeah,
this
it's a
is.
great part.
Do you know? Could we do something with the tax bills, where you could add in an extra?
Well, but
Donation?
that's putting it on people that are paying for it already.
Yeah, and
I think what
and
we're
you've got-
really trying to do is for the people that aren't,
Yeah,
give
gotcha.
them an opportunity to
Gotcha.
pitch in.
Yeah, and then you have people that don't get their tax bill, they go, they're that's
Gotcha.
true, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would bring, I think this, I was gonna originally say, if I can talk, oh my gosh. I was originally going to say, just put this on the consent agenda, but I think this deserves a conversation at our meeting next week, just to talk about it, and I would add in some of the past numbers, like the fee numbers, and talk about how we're talking about offsetting, some of those numbers in order to get rid of the, the
Yeah.
non-resident parking passes.
So the good thing in waiting just a little bit, I think we could do away with the enforcement of the annual non-resident passes at any time. Passes have already been started being distributed for next year. So there's a potential that we make the price increase for 2022 for the professional pass jump, and then we would maybe have to look at possibly refunding $450. That's how much we've brought in on annual non-resident passes so far.
Well, I would almost say, I feel comfortable at this point recommending the council that we do move forward with the professional fees going up for 2022.
Do we set that number, or do we just say number to be determined at a later time?
No, I think you set that number.
I think we
why
can set
push
it
off?
right now.
Just figure out what it is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I gotta submit this to Austin like yesterday,
Well,
so if we,
I'm on his case about it.
chop, buttercup.
I mean, it's drawn up, but if we're gonna do any sort of like further analysis of,
Oh, you're talking about for a meeting.
yeah, I'm talking about for your meeting. I mean, I can,
I would, I would say to be determined at
Okay.
our next PRMG meeting. And we can talk about how much they should go up, and you guys kind of think about it, because I understand Bob's point, like 100 to 150, that's a lot, but at the same time, we've never raised it ever, and
Yeah.
people are getting
And we're
a
getting
deal.
more and more
And
of
people are getting
it.
a
That's how
deal,
you control
so-
it.
So you
Yeah.
guys want to table this discussion for January?
I think for the actual numbers, like what we would raise them to, we're table that till January, but Derek can bring it back and say, this is what we're working on for.
Just provide an update for the council.
Yes,
Okay.
but go ahead and have us make a decision on getting rid of the non-resident parking passes.
Kim, on the cost for the professional photographer,
Yeah,
I think it would be good to have some rationale as to why the price went to, or the recommended prices,
Yeah.
whatever. And if we could get up with, some communities nearby that have parks that are charging fees, And if we find out, who knows, they may be charging 200. I don't know.
Right, well,
But
and if
it'd
Met
be handy
County's
to have.
charging it by the hour, I bet they're like $150 an hour. I
Yeah,
bet.
I think it's gonna be cheap.
Yeah. So
So,
that'd be handy to know.
yeah, so Derek, if you can look at those numbers and bring all that back in January, and then we here can talk about it and then bring it to council for the January meeting.
And the other thing about the professional fees is they're bringing people in that aren't necessarily having to pay the daily fees then and
Correct.
stuff. And those people might still enjoy using the park
Correct.
and things like that, so.
And I would look into some sort of signage about, you know, if you love our park as much as we do, and you'd like to help us keep it up, here's a way to donate, or something, like some sort of,
Yeah.
and that may be a good Eagle Scout project, I don't know. But some sort of sign that, you know, we can direct people to the website and they can make a donation.
Yeah.
Okay, just to clarify, are you guys, you're officially making the recommendation for council to do away with the non-resident annual passes?
For 2020, beginning 2022, is that what you're saying?
I mean, it's only 9 people. We could start it 2021.
Okay.
You see, that's the thing that makes me hesitate a little bit, is whether we do the professional fees now, and then at some point next year, we make an announcement that in 2021, we're going to eliminate these fees, you know?
Well, I
I'm not
agree.
talking
Because
about
we're
the
already at a
professional
point
fees.
now where we're having to refund people.
I'm not talking about the professional fees. I'm talking about the non-resident.
Yeah,
the $50
that's what I'm
pass.
talking about too.
You're
Sorry.
talking about the
I switched them
2100,
both.
correct?
Yeah.
It was $21.50 for 2020. We've sold 9 of them already.
He's
for-
already got
for 2021.
450.
Right, but it's the 2100.
Yeah.
I think to John's point, if we do our homework, when we find out what we can take our fees up for the professional fees,
Mhm.
and have a year under our belt in terms of cost offset versus the 2100, it'd be a very easy argument to make for 2022. We can walk away because we're more than offsetting that $2,100.
So basically push out everything to start in 22.
We'll go
Correct.
ahead and take the professional fees up in 2021.
Yeah, bring the professional fees up, but then at some point in 2021, we move forward with eliminating the fees so that we don't have to worry about refunds and.
And then you know what your revenue stream is.
Yeah, I'm with you, Derek, I'm confused too.
Yeah, I've said 2 different things.
Yeah, I'm a bit lost here too.
Okay.
So for the professional fees, right?
Professional fees, we said that we want to take them up,
Yeah.
but we don't know the number.
Correct.
Okay. The annual non-resident passes that we sell for $50 a piece. All right, so forget professional
Yep.
passes. All right, $50 annual non-resident fees. We've sold 9 of those already for next year. Do you guys want to do away with those? That was the whole start of this original conversation. Do we want to be welcoming, inviting? Can somebody just coming to use the park wherever they live? Can they come without having a pass on their car?
I'm good either doing it 20
Now or later?
or 2022.
I got you.
And the only reason that I was thinking 2022 versus 2021
Yeah.
is you do your homework, you find out how much we can take professional fees up. We know we're going to give up $2,150 in revenue.
Yeah.
But if we take professional fees up and we know what that number is, then in 2022, we can make a whole lot better decision as to what we're going to do, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I'm good with whatever the committee or the advisory board would like to do.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think that's
and I guess I'm also seeing this kind of like you, Bob. I'm surprised by the number $2,100. That was a lot more than I thought it was. And when I think about taking that away now, you know, I'm more along the lines that I think we should, but I don't want it to affect what we're providing as a revenue source to the park as well. That's what I want to be careful of now, because I expected it might be, you know, $1,000 or less, you know, and when you're talking in the larger scheme of things here,
Exactly.
$2,100 isn't that really.
They just made a movement, right?
Go ahead.
I think it's a pandemic. It sounds to me like a pandemic, unintended consequence of pandemic thing. You know, people want to get outside. Hey, this is an awesome park. We're going to go to this park and we're going to pay the money this year.
Well, but it's been growing. That's the thing that really kind of blew me away. It's
I'm
almost,
guessing it doesn't go down. It'll keep going up. But I think we got a benefit there. We wouldn't have maybe normally gotten.
yeah.
Yeah. But I'm still I would vote still for dropping the non-resident fee, just kind of as that we're able to move quickly on decisions and we're trying to be more welcoming in that park and raise the professional fees to make up for it and hope it covers it
When do you want to do that, Christina?
now. That's just my opinion.
We can institute it January 1st, I would think.
I mean, we can, and we could refund people's money.
Yeah. I could.
Nine people. It's not.
Yeah, you make 9 people super happy.
They'll sell their friends.
They have ask them if they donate, consider donating their fees.
Yeah, I would actually give them. I would tell them that we're considering moving to donations, and so we're offering your money back,
In
but
this area, you
if you
probably
would
get
like to
that.
donate, yeah. So
Maybe more of a pain to get their money back to them.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to recommend to council that they do away with the non-resident annual fees for $50 and that staff will look into competitive rates for professional use for council to determine a potential increase that is supported by PRG in the near future to be instituted for the 2022 passes.
2022
2022
We'll never get it done for
2021.
for professional passes.
yeah.
Good with that?
Yeah.
Someone needs to make a motion.
Yeah.
Or hold on before you make the motion. Or you can bring it back to council, figure out the numbers. PRG can look at those professional pass numbers in January and can make a decision, because I guarantee not every single professional pass person gets theirs January 1st or at the end of December.
And they don't.
I guarantee they come in throughout the year, and instead of waiting and missing out on some additional revenue, we're getting rid of
You implement it right away.
you just implement, and whoever's paid for it has paid for it. We're not gonna go back and ask them for more money. But anybody new coming in after we pass it, say, our fees have gone up, here's what they offer.
If council's okay with it, I'm okay with it.
Well, I don't know that they will be. I mean, I won't be, but I mean, I'm only one, so.
To me, that makes a ton of sense. Why do we have to,
I agree.
provide them on a regular basis? Let's just
As soon as we get the data to back up our decision.
So you work on that, Derek. You bring that back to Parks Rec and Greenway for the January meeting.
Okay.
You guys can talk about it, make a recommendation, and then bring it back to council at the beginning of January for our first meeting, and we can hopefully make a decision.
Okay.
And then Derek,
So-
you can give us an update on that next week and say, hey, this is what they're looking at. Just, put it in your cap to start thinking about.
Yeah.
So-
Awesome.
So do I hear a motion on the table to recommend that
Council abolish the fee.
Go under consent.
that Derek brings to council the recommendation that we eliminate fees for non-resident daily passes for 2021?
Not daily, the annual passes, but daily and annual.
Daily and annual passes, while also making the recommendation that council considers the professional service fees that we charge with the intent of potentially raising those in the January, February timeframe. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye.
I know that can get confusing, so good job. Thank you.
Okay, well, you guys will probably have to rebate on this in January for the
Yeah.
professional fees. So.
Okay. Well, once we get some feedback on what they think they should be.
Not that we need I'm not sure if we need a motion or if this is the time to talk about it, but I don't think there's any reason not to, ask for donations in a reasonable way.
Yeah, and we can
I wonder,
do that.
is that something we could do, start planning to do now? Because I know it'll take some time to develop things or get somebody to set things up.
But could you put something on the website
I think
in
that,
the interim?
Let's wait till we get the new, we're getting ready to launch the brand new website very soon. So once we have that, we can absolutely add that.
maybe revisit this topic in January or.
Yeah.
Come with some ideas about how to do it.
Let me research how other people are doing it,
Yep.
and as well, if you are on the Google, on the Bing, look up other parks or entities nearby and see if you see anything.
Yeah, I mean, I would go to like Met County Parks and
Mhm.
I guarantee there's donate here, like all over their website.
Yeah.
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 Put that on my list also.
All right.
Wow, let's get long here.
It's getting real long.
Next item on the agenda is the tree lighting, barn decorating follow-up. And I know one of the things last time we mentioned, kind of a volunteer day, if you guys want some help,
Yeah, I just real quick, as you know, council made the official decision to not have a public event. The mayor is still going to go up there on Saturday the 12th to light the tree, and then we're going to extend the park hours during the holiday season and invite people to come in and look at the lights, take pictures with the decorations. So if you have any time in the next 10 days, let me know. Just shoot me an email real quick, and I'd love to have your help, but staff and I can probably manage it. It'll just allow me to move on to other projects quicker.
is there a specific day that you
I mean,
would designate that if...
We're going to start tomorrow. We're meeting up there tomorrow. We could do it Saturday. I think this Saturday there's nothing going on. Those are probably my two biggest days. Thursday afternoon as well. So tomorrow morning, midday, Thursday afternoon, and Saturday. Just let me know if you have any availability.
Yeah, Saturday.
Check in the calendar for Saturday.
Austin, I put that out to all of our advisory boards.
What now?
I would send an email out to all of our advisory boards
I would focus on a window on Saturday.
and say, hey,
10 to 12. How about that?
perfect,
Yeah.
10 to 12 on Saturday, if you want to
Coffee.
come and help,
Coffee and donuts provided.
there you go. If you want to come help decorate the barn for the, holiday season, we'd love to have you. Tell your friends. I mean, it's a great, they may not come and that's fine, but they may tell some people and then they can, it's a great way, and I'd put it out on Nextdoor.
And it's not a community event, but it's an event
Do
that...
you just want this boards or you want this village-wide?
Just the boards.
boards.
Just the boards.
Okay, so that's just
the
just
boards.
emails.
Just the boards, and they can talk
And they
to
can,
friends
and
and
if they're
neighbors.
like,
if
hey,
they-
I'm gonna go help, decorate the barn, anybody wanna come, then,
Yeah.
What would be your best time?
10 to
10
12.
to 12.
10 and 12.
10 to 12.
Good ideas. Thanks.
And what day was this again?
Saturday.
This Saturday.
Yeah. All right, next item on the agenda is the update on CRTPO.
Hey, I apologize. This is Dan. I have to go. Am I going to mess up a quorum or anything if I go?
No, but we need to excuse you. You need to ask to be excused so that your vote doesn't count as yeses.
May I be excused?
Yes, you may.
You guys have to vote on it.
Mother, may I?
We do?
Yeah, you have to vote on it.
Okay.
Can he have a hall pass?
Do I hear a motion on the table to excuse Dan from the meeting?
So moved.
Any further
So
discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Thank you. I apologize.
No worries. Thank you, Dan.
I'm gonna miss your praise.
All right, Rohit, CRTPO.
So, this is moving a lot faster than I thought. So a few meetings ago, you recall I presented, that, if you don't mute you, because I'm getting a little feedback, sorry. So I presented that I was going to, submit a scope of the Marvin Loop Trail to CRTPO for some discretionary funding allocation. That section would be basically from Saddle Avenue, Marvin Road down to Newtown Road, all the way across Newtown Road, and then up to where it ends currently at the preserve at Yellow Jasmine. And Dan was completely instrumental in helping create cost estimates that they wanted. And so it turns out that the CRTPO is going to vote on the funding being allocated in their December meeting, and this Thursday they're going to vote on the projects that have been submitted. Our project is actually recommended for approval, and in that case, if the CCC, which is the recommending board, votes to approve it, and the full CRTPO board in their third Wednesday of the month meeting, they vote to approve it, we will win a little over $1 million in funding from the region. The exact amount was $1,024,050, and the council had agreed to match 40% of the total cost, so which comes out to about $730,000, I think. But yeah, so it's great news. Our project is recommended for approval. The one, I guess, caveat is that we did get most of our competitive points from that application from our downtown district, where the trail would connect a lot of neighborhoods to, these activity centers, destinations. So, I mean, it's kind of in a position where if we don't do the district, then we just don't take the money. But so it's not really a tragedy if we said we're going to do this district and then we don't do it. In terms of the regional funding, but it's just really exciting that we are probably going to be approved within just a few weeks.
That's awesome.
Great
Yeah,
job,
that is.
Bob.
Hey, Rohit, when are we supposed to get the money? Like 24?
Yeah, but here's the thing: it is a reimbursable grant, so we are going to have to take out the money somehow. Most likely through a construction loan, and then build it, and then bill CRTPO for their share of the money.
Okay. So do we have to take it by 24?
There is I think it's like a 5-year period from when we're awarded the money. So say we're awarded the money, we're awarded the grant early 21. And we can do it as late as early 26.
Okay. But we could do it earlier and get reimbursed.
We can do it earlier, yes.
Okay. I'm just wondering, if the Heritage District, if we find out that it's not going to be feasible to do, and I guess we have to know that and move forward with that before we can start building anything.
Right. And if like I said, if we do decide in the near future that we're not doing the Heritage District, then we will not take the money from CRTPO. That's just the way it has to be.
Okay.
But that's because our long-term plan is to build out this trail network one way or another. So if we don't get this money because we didn't do the Heritage District, then we will find another way to make our trail.
Got it. Okay. Hey, great job, and great job to Dan.
Yeah.
I wish you had stayed on for this one, but that's awesome. Great job, staff. I know you guys worked really hard on it. That's amazing.
Yeah, we did. It was a full team effort. Dan helped a lot. He spent some weekends, some evenings on this. Christina Amos also helped a lot. It was definitely a full team effort. I think we put in a lot of effort, a lot of staff time into it. I think it took about 40 hours total between all of us.
Well, great job, and now you've got one grant under your belt, and you know how it works, and so we can keep looking for more. That's awesome. Great job.
I would say this one is a little more easier than other grants because CRTPO really does want all projects to win.
Yeah.
And they help us, after we submit the application, they helped us, fix some of our loose ends and resubmit it. So, so it's a really good first grant to apply for, and, it's over $1 million. Like, it's a really big, good first grant.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's all I have about it. I'll continue to update you. I hope that next PRG meeting, I will update you with, we did win it. Of course, I don't see any reason why, the TCC and the CRTPO board wouldn't vote any differently than just to approve their benefits. But that's all.
And just for our understanding, what is the council's vision on where the Heritage District, just not, of course, many things have to happen, but just what's the timeline you're working on that being something or not being something?
Right, the general timeline, to make it really concise, we have an economic feasibility consultant that we're working with right now. We'll give them the parameters for our low density vision, and they'll tell us if it's feasible. And based on that, and they'll also give us some recommendations for adjustments we could make to our parameters. Based on what they say, the council will determine if we're doing this district or not. Because if they say we have to stray too far from our principles to make a district like this work, then we're just not going to do it. And that decision will come around January, February.
Okay.
So if that decision comes out to be a yes, we'll set up the zoning district and the special taxing district by the end of this fiscal year, that's June. And then within the next year, we will see some site plans coming in.
Okay. All right, thanks, Rohit. That's great news. Next item is new business items. Item number 1 is update on Parks and Greenways next projects.
I've brought to you guys before the ideas of the fitness trail and the disc golf course. I was just gonna ask if you had any last minute comments. I'm gonna take those to council next week with the idea of selling the signages as sponsors, so there's no budgetary impact, and just get their blessing on it to move forward with it.
So I actually had, one of my neighbors says that they would like to sponsor at least one of the golf, what do you call it, holes, nets, whatever, spots.
That's good. I think Kim said she was gonna do the other 8, so.
Yep, I got it.
We
Wait,
got-
what?
We might actually get other people to do it.
Oh, I thought it was Mary Scooter.
we're on-
Oh,
So how will we know how much that would cost, or am I putting the cart before the horse here?
I think you had some estimates.
How much, what will cost?
A whole sponsor.
How much, if you want to sponsor,
If the
what do you
whole
call it?
project's at X amount, you're sponsoring a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah, what did you say, it was like
What's a sponsor cost?
8,400 and there's 9 holes?
Yeah, both projects are right around $9,000. So
How many spots are on the workout thing?
20,
Okay, see, that could be lower, that could be a lower sponsor.
but I would do them as pairs
Okay,
to kind of keep both, I would try to keep them both kind of very similar.
okay.
So yeah, you're looking at, I think $1,000 a sign.
Could you have more than one sponsor per hole? You could do like a bronze, silver, I mean, I don't know, I'm just asking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm afraid if you say $1,000, people are gonna be like, I do 500, but I don't wanna do 1,000.
Yeah. Well, that's.
Yeah, 1,000 sounds
A lot.
difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, we could do 500 per station on the fitness trail, and then, and two sponsors per hole on the disc golf course.
Derek, I forget if it was you or somebody else from staff that reached out to me about, I think we had like a brochure that talked about donations and what a bench would be and what a,
Yeah, I had reached out to you to see if you,
and I couldn't find that particular information, but is it something that we want to look at these on their own and their sponsorships, or is it something that we want to present as an opportunity for sponsorships with these other things? Because as Kimberly said, okay, you know, maybe we make certain ones like the disc golf and the other things, these levels, but then people can see that there's other levels for sponsoring a bench or, you know, something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of having some sort of like sponsorship
Some
program.
tiered, and you make that part of the tier where some of these are some of the higher end items,
yeah.
but that you're giving out people opportunities
Yeah.
for those others as well.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Because there may be some people who are like, well, I'd really like to do something,
Picnic
but
tables can be sponsored.
Yeah.
The bench
Yeah.
can be sponsored.
Yeah.
The picnic table at Publix could be sponsored by someone,
Yeah.
you know.
So,
it's, I mean, it's a great way to get people involved.
a master inventory list
Yeah,
with
Just of
tiers.
the things we consider to be sponsorable things within the park, the Greenway, you know.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay.
But I do like that idea of having, because I mean, you know, you go to a golf tournament, you have people that sponsor the holes. I mean, I like that idea. It's a way for people to give
Yeah.
something back to their community.
But that's a one-time thing.
That's a
Right.
one-time thing, right?
Yeah.
And this would be,
This you're getting your sign, you know, I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know what they pay for a banner every year at the elementary school, but
Yeah.
we're talking about
yeah, forever.
signages. And do we put a time limit on it? Do we say, you know,
You have to renew it after 5
5 years?
Yeah. Let's see what other.
Or especially if it's based on a business, the business would be gone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true. So maybe, yeah, I was gonna say maybe you make it lower and you do it an annual thing to let other people get an opportunity to, you know.
What is the signage gonna look like?
and what will it look like? I mean,
I don't think they're gonna be huge.
yeah, I think it's an 18 by 24. It's got a wooden border.
The sponsorship thing definitely needs some more research and thought and work, and I think we should all think about it and take a look and see what other places, you know, may sponsor, and we can come back in January and talk about that, but
Yeah, we're under no timeline here,
no.
so,
But I do but you are gonna bring that to council next week for the golf and the
well, I had, yeah. But-
disc golf and the fitness trail.
So is there direction for Derek to research sponsorships here?
Yeah, but not for our meeting next week. Because I'd like to go ahead and get approval for those to move forward.
Well, I
Especially
can't
the
really, I
disc
can't really
golf
move
winners.
forward without a sponsorship structure, really. I mean, they're sitting there waiting to be purchased, right? So I can't purchase a fitness trail package.
You need the
Un-
sponsorship
until-
funding before,
yeah, until I've
because
got-
it's an
Unless
unbudgeted
council just
item.
says okay, and then when we get sponsorship money in, we can reimburse general fund or wherever we take it from.
Okay.
I mean, again, I'm one person, so I don't know how the rest of council's gonna feel about that, but, or Christina, or Jamie.
Yeah. I'm not even sure it would make it to council.
Yeah, but I would rather move forward
Yeah,
and figure out the sponsorship thing, you know, in January or February,
well, so here's the question.
okay?
If I'm a potential sponsor and I see that this amenity is already at the park, why am I gonna spend money when I can go out and use it without a signage on it?
Because you still want your
You still want the
information out there.
advertising.
Yeah.
Want your name on it.
Yeah,
I would-
because I don't think they're sponsoring it so it gets built. I think they're sponsoring it to advertise themselves or give back to the community.
I would say the other way.
There's
Oh,
no,
you sure
there's
there's
no
a
marketing
lot?
value at
Yeah.
all.
I will say though,
No.
I think, and the reason why I talked about those other sponsorships, because I think $1,000 for something standing out there is gonna be kind of sticker shock,
I do too.
you know?
I think in this area, to say that you're gonna be a part of something, I mean, it's not my decision. But
Yeah.
I think there'll be a lot of people with businesses who would write $1,000 check. And
Yeah, I'm thinking more individuals, but you'll
But-
probably get a lot more
It's
interest
gonna
from
be a
people's
goodwill
businesses.
check.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be-
But I do think that we can move forward without having that process in place yet. Again, you gotta talk to Christina and Jamie. Because I would like to go ahead and get it approved, because I do think now is a great time to put in, especially the disc golf stuff, because it's, you know, stuff's dying, you can see stuff easier, it's easier to rip stuff out.
Yeah.
This is absolutely the time to build it, to plan and build it.
I mean, talk to Christina, because again, I don't know how, like, you know, and Jamie's probably gonna shoot me, but,
yeah,
sorry, Jamie.
Which Jamie are you talking
Shoot me.
Okay.
Not Jamie Lyon, that Jamie will be fine. Finance Jamie.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, Derek?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm making some notes.
Okay.
All right. Also,
Have a discussion with Gene.
I don't think I need an official recommendation from them
No, you're
because
good.
They've already recommended it,
yeah, it's not.
but you can get one if you want one. Do you want one? You can have one.
I asked. I don't think I need one,
Okay.
but that's their decision.
I don't think that this really changes things much, but what about the idea of sponsoring in the memory of somebody? You know how they do those brick things and put the name on it and all that?
Yeah. I think it's good.
I don't care what it says as long
Give
as
me the money. Show
Mine-
me the money.
minus
But
being offensive.
that's a slightly different approach as well. I mean, it's something that you'd offer or remind people they can do or whatever.
But I do think, Derek, you need to, if we have some sort of sponsorship, it needs to be, it's gotta be like a time frame. Because like, if it's just, you sponsor it and then it's there forever and, you know,
Then it
they go
starts
out
falling
of
apart 15
business
years.
and, yeah, or they go out of
Yeah.
business or they're not here anymore and, you know,
Well-
gives other people an opportunity, or they can renew it. They get
Yeah.
first dibs to renew,
Yeah.
and if they don't want to, and I don't, maybe not an annual thing, but, you know.
5 years
5
or
years.
something
Yeah.
like
Well, I was
that.
thinking that Chaplain would need to review it.
For sure, yeah.
You know, if like ultimately we have discretion or something. If,
Yeah.
You know, if a business goes into some real bad negative
Then we can renew, yeah,
public image.
yeah.
we
We'd
can
have to
renew
have,
that.
it's not just a, I mean, it would be a sponsorship, so there's like some sort of like contract with timing, and I'm
Yeah.
talking to Chaplain about all that.
Okay. Well, yeah. So, anyways, I'm gonna take that to council for their blessing to get started on it.
So, to wrap the, so let's assume that you don't get sponsorships.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a project that we want to move on without sponsorships?
I would hope so. I would ask. I would probably try to get them put
I
into
would too, so
the CIP.
I agree with that.
The
So I'm
CIP.
hoping that,
I think
I
putting,
hope we're willing as Marvin to make an investment in this thing in lieu of sponsorships if the idea doesn't work, because I think it's great utilization of the park.
yeah, I think the time limit too actually helps you with the sponsorships. Because then you say 5 years, okay, it's $1,000 for 5 years, it's $200 a year,
Yeah,
you know? And then you have the opportunity to maybe get another $1,000 in
Yep.
5 years to maintain it, you know, and
and
stuff like
somebody
that.
may wanna do a hole at the park, and they may wanna do a fitness thing on the
Correct.
loop. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, and if we're looking at donations for the park, we can also, if we don't happen to get sponsorship for that, we can also look at those donations that we can be, I mean, I think there's a lot that we can be doing here, and I love the fact that we're kind of, I feel like we're thinking outside the box now, to kind of like,
Yeah,
you know, other revenue sources and streams that we can, because people do want to get involved, and they do want to give back to their community.
yeah.
Yeah, I've got an email right here. A guy approached me. He wanted to sponsor a bench.
Perfect. Be like, hey, I might not have a bench for you yet, but what about a hole? Or a fitness trail thing? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
What about our next, I actually asked Austin to put this on there. What's our next trail? What's our next, like, I know we've got park projects and I feel like we've been working on Telemorph for years. What's our next trail?
So I need to have some discussions with, I think maybe Rohit, because I think he's looking at grant funding for some, as to where my thoughts on what should be done next might differ in that.
Okay.
So I can't specifically.
Can you guys let's come back to the January meeting with some sort of
Yeah, well,
something?
I think your CIP that you're gonna get
Yeah,
might have a little bit of that information.
next week.
Rohit, have you been listening to this recent
Yeah, yeah.
question? How do we move forward with what's on the CIP versus what I would say needs to be done next?
Well, the goal is to move along with the things that are next in the CIP. That's kind of how we plan. So the next things that are up on the CIP are the Marvin Loop Trail sections, both on Marvin Road and on Joe Carr Road, and some of the Waxahachie Marvin Road sections as well. So those are, how I see the next big trail projects. If you're talking about smaller trail projects, we do have Broadmoor coming up too, which the developer will be responsible for building the
Now,
portions of the trail that are on Waxahachie Marvin Road.
Now, when you say,
and-
Rohit, hold on a second. When you say
Yeah.
we're following the CIP, are you looking at the one that I've done?
I haven't seen the one you've done yet, but I was looking at the one we have from 21 to 25. That has next trails that we have broken down by year. And in that one, we have Marvin Loop Trail sections first.
Rohit, tell me what we have for 21, 22?
So as I recall, we have the Marvin Loop Trail sections that are on Marvin Road and Joe Carr Road.
But, okay, so the ones that are on Joe Carr, I got that. But the ones that are on Marvin Road, isn't that into the grant that we're hopefully gonna get?
Right. And that's the thing. We have a CIP. There's no money associated with that. We have to find the money. So that's what we plan for. We know what we want to do next because of the CIP. Then we find the money to do it.
Okay, I guess that's my question is, what do you guys wanna do next?
I put forth 4 different sections of trail to start on next year.
Like, I feel like we've been working on Tullamore and we've worked on the park. I feel like we need our next project. Like, what are we going after next?
Yeah. I think Tullamore Phase 3 in some form, and the preserve internal trail. But I also have Saddle Avenue to Newtown, and
that's the Marvin Loop Trail section.
and Wheatfield Drive to Yellow Jasmine as being funded for next year.
Okay, I've got internal preserve trail.
Yeah.
I've got Tullamore Phase 3. Am I looking at the right place?
It's Phase 3.
Phase 3.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
Okay, what was the second one you said? The third one you said?
Saddle to Newtown, which I think goes down Marvin Road.
Saddle?
Like
To Saddle
To Newtown?
over
to
here,
Newtown.
Down to Newtown.
Saddle to Newtown
okay.
on Marvin Road. That's the
Oh,
Marvin Loop
okay.
Trail section.
I got it. And what was the fourth one? I'm sorry.
And the fourth one.
You said Wheatfield to what? Yellow
Oh,
Jasmine?
it's on Joe Kerr.
Wheatfield to Saddle.
Oh, here.
Yeah, I think
Which is the CRTPO. Well, part of it's the CRTPO piece.
Wheatfield to Saddle?
Yeah, that's the Joe Carr section of Marvin
But
Trail.
wouldn't that be Wheatfield
Well,
to
it's-
Marvin?
Yeah, it's really Wheatfield to Marvin down to
Wheatfield to
south.
Marvin and then around the corner.
It
Yeah,
might be-
that's
It
including
might be
around the corner.
Wheatfield to Pacer, I don't know, I can't. The way that the master plan wrote it up was a little different than what we had been calling them, so I'm trying
Okay.
to
No, that's fine.
still get my bearings on John.
Because I feel like we've got, hopefully, the CRTPO with the Heritage District. I'm hoping that's gonna be, taken care of. Obviously, not the Wheatfield to Newtown.
Rohit, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, I don't think we can just say we're gonna do these 3 next year because of everything you've got going on, right? We're trying to kind of
I mean, we don't have any money right
Yeah,
now,
because
right?
Yeah.
there's no money
Right.
attributed to.
letting your
Yeah, like I said, the CIP estimates how much money we'll need for each trail section. We have to organize the money for it, and like we said when we were adopting this master plan, we really have to find money from other places every step of the way, because we can't afford it all,
Okay.
not a long shot.
Can we get sponsorships for trails?
Sure.
That's, I mean, we can try, but it's a lot bigger of a,
Price tag.
You're talking $10,000 donations, right?
Yeah.
yeah, we're talking like
Okay.
the
5, 6
Vandenberg
figure
Trail.
contracts to it. So it's a little bit different than.
I'll take care of all of it. I'll just write that check.
Okay,
No, nothing can't lose.
Yeah, the nothing, the crazy.
Okay, so when are you presenting those 4 to council, Derek?
The whole thing is done for your next
that-
meeting, I think.
Are we talking about that? Is that on the agenda?
Austin,
Awesome.
agenda.
again?
Hey,
Sorry. Answering residents.
is our CIP gonna be on the agenda next week?
I think so. I'm not sure yet. Have not received all forms yet.
Okay. All right.
Yet to be determined.
I'm pretty sure it is because I've been under a lot of pressure to get it done.
That's a good indicator.
Okay, good. Perfect. Fabulous. That's what I needed to know. Thank you.
All right.
Great.
all right. Item number 2 in new business is Marsh update.
Yeah, that's me. So I am so excited about, hopefully we can have some more speaker series next year.
We will.
So do you guys have any idea? I heard you and Christina talking about,
Careful with Jackson.
doing,
Christina
planting
can
something?
address this.
Christina, can you talk about kind of what you guys have like in mind next year for some speaker series?
Yes. I've already got February. We're gonna start in February.
Okay,
We're gonna do the 4th Tuesday in every month. And I've got February settled. I've got a speaker to talk about how you certify your yard and why you would do this.
awesome.
And her name is Debbie Foster. I've worked with her before. And then some of the other ideas on the docket are how do you bring in pollinators to your yard?
Okay.
And not just planting, but like bee houses and butterfly houses and things like that, structures you can build.
Oh, cool.
Another idea, and I've got somebody for that one too, I just haven't settled it down. And I'm talking to Carol Bowie Jackson about this one. In the spring birds come through, and right now we've got some birds that live here all the time, but in the spring and in the fall, different birds migrate through. So to talk about the ones that are kind of our tourist birds and the ones that are our real neighbors, and what the difference is and who you might see in the spring. Another one, the one that Bob and I were talking about is, I've built this wonderful, beautiful certified yard for all of these critters, and they're destroying it. So how do I deal with that? And then I think that will get us through the spring. Then we'll take the summer off, and we'll pick back up again in September. And then we're looking at something about trees, and more about how trees are sort of the lungs of the world. And we can talk a little bit about depressing things as well as some happy things like, planting some more air passages, if you will. And then I'm really, really hoping that by October we are all able to see one another, because we have an idea about that we wanted to do this year, and we couldn't, have a talk about bats and do it around Halloween, so that we could get kids involved and, have costumes and all that kind of stuff. And then, so that would be October, and then November, I've already settled with a friend of mine named Brianna Walker, who works with Union County. She's an educator there, and she's going to talk to us about water in our county, where it comes from, if you're on a well, talk about aquifers. That was Bob's idea, but I found just somebody to do it, so this is awesome. She's going to do a little research and just give us kind of the history of and how to take care of your water sources, and hopefully, talk about not polluting your own water.
Awesome. Okay, cool. That's very exciting. I just kind of wanted an update on, where you guys were with the speaker series and what we could maybe expect for next year if you had, which it sounds like you do, which is amazing. So let's just make sure that
we do have possibly, and it kind of all depends, right, on how COVID goes.
Yep.
But we are also talking about doing a garden tour or two.
Yep.
Again. And so that might be May, and I don't know what the fall would be, September, October, something like that. And then another thing that we've talked about is over the summer, trying to do some, like identification type walks through the park. So to identify plants or animals or birds or whatever. And that just requires some expertise that we may or may not have. So, but something to get people outside instead of just, sitting on Zoom.
Yeah, no, I think that's awesome. Great, and we just need to make sure that we are putting out information about, going through the resident list and next door whenever we're having March updates. So
I sure I have a newsletter for March that goes out every
perfect.
month.
Okay, awesome. But like when we have events coming up, or when March has events.
We've been sharing stuff.
Perfect. Okay, good, awesome. That's
But I
awesome.
would also like to promote a calendar once I have one.
Yeah.
I just don't have it, everything settled yet.
That's
Because I
okay.
don't want to promote something that I can't ever find a speaker for.
Yeah, no, that's
Hey,
fine.
Christina, when you have that calendar, you can send it to me and I can put it on the village website, all the dates in there too.
Well,
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Christina.
thank you for supporting it and promoting it.
Okay,
And for that matter, since you're all here, if anybody has ideas on things you would like to have either a speaker on or an outdoor talk on or whatever, let me know, because we're always looking for new ideas and speakers for that matter.
I thought I might have heard it, but I think one of the ones that was on the slate right before it got canceled was specifically the native plants one, was it? Was that the one, like the last one that got canceled?
No, we did that
We
one.
did that.
But we actually did it, and we recorded it, and it is on our YouTube channel. I will make sure that you get that connection.
Was that before or after the coyote one?
After.
And so what happened was,
Yeah.
it was in March, and so we canceled it.
Oh, okay.
And luckily, Dr. Mellichamp agreed to do that for us. I think it was the 22nd of
okay.
September.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's
So
cool.
we did it.
That was
Gotcha.
cool.
And he did a good job too.
Yeah, he did.
And actually, if we could, Austin, if we could promote we got 2 videos on the YouTube channel right now. And one's native plants and one is about composting. And those were our first 2 Zoom meetings. And they went really well. We had good attendance. But if we could promote that channel, we'll just keep adding to it.
Just send me a reminder, send me the links and
I will.
everything. And I'll put it on the list.
Thanks.
Put it on your list. I heard you guys are making lots of lists here.
All right, the next item on new business items is number 3, discussion of Eagle Scout projects, ideas, volunteers, and website listing.
All right, big multifaceted project item here, sorry. So typically, the way that the Eagle Scout projects have worked is they will reach out to me. They will either have an idea for a project, or they will ask if we have any projects that we need done, and we'll just kind of go back and forth and collaborate until we reach an agreement on something that they would like to do. I would like to, that's become very cumbersome, time consuming, and what I was thinking about was going to a website listing, and I actually realized this, that another local municipality lists current projects that they need done. And so I was thinking about that maybe annually we get together and discuss 3 or 4 things that we'd like to see done, and then list those on the website and direct scouts there. What I'm having to do is field a lot of calls and emails, and then I'll, meet with them at the park or on the Greenway somewhere and kind of show them around. Just very time consuming. But I'd like to pass that off to somebody on the board to kind of be the point person of communication. If we move to a website listing, it could potentially be very minimal. But maybe at the bottom of the website we list for questions on this, please reach out to such and such. And then you're the point person for meeting with the scout, kind of giving them here's the lay of the land. Yeah, right here next to the picnic shelter, we'd like to see some horseshoe pits built. Just an example. And then kind of take that off of my plate. So what are your thoughts on those 2 things? And I still have more after that. Not everybody volunteer at once.
So what we usually do when we're missing people from our board meetings, that's who we recommend for that. So Dan and Sherry will recommend that. No, I'm just kidding.
Perfect. That works. Perfect.
Poor Bob.
Poor Bob. Not you, Bob, or Bob.
Do you guys like the idea of listing projects on the website, or do
Yes.
you want to keep it organic and it just kind of be on me to collaborate with?
I don't think that's organic. I think you need to have a plan for activities and prioritize them. I like the list.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know what the situation is with the schools and stuff, but, they're typically looking for service hours, so, if we can publicize some of those things like that, that might be helpful for them to see some projects that they can kind of draw from.
All right, so I will move to a website listing.
So if we're gonna put it on the website, that would be a new thing, right?
It would
That we
be.
would list projects?
Yeah, I mean, I think to start with the new website, we would just say, for potential Eagle Scout project inquiries, contact. All right, and so that's my next question. Do I have someone who would volunteer to kind of be that point person? I would still collaborate with you, on the feasibility, or we can go out annually and look at the grounds, look at what needs to be done, discuss, bring it back to the board, but I'd really just like to kind of give that away to somebody to let them run with.
Only because I think Dan, being an engineer, has a pretty good feel for those things. I'm not recommending his name right now, but I'd want to talk to him about it
Yes,
first.
being absent, yes.
I'll talk to Dan.
They do a great job.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, last.
So I have one more question though. If we're gonna add that to the website, which I think is an excellent idea, are we gonna promote that somehow in some other way so that people know that it's there?
It can go in my weekly newsletter.
Yeah, maybe a few times. My rule of thumb is that people have to hear things like 7 times before they actually pay attention.
It can be one of the staple posts in there
Like
every
a
week.
quarterly thing, or,
Yeah, and maybe next door and that sort of thing.
Well, it'll be a next door.
Well, I think once
Get an intern.
a few scouts
I really should.
I keep saying it.
inquire and
What she said?
I should get an intern.
I keep saying we need an intern for communications.
absolutely.
It is fun though to do. That's what
I mean, I have been saying it since I got on the board, almost
Marketing,
4 years ago.
fundraising,
Yep.
communications.
Cause they know how to get, all those young people know how to do all that stuff. I don't know how to do all that stuff.
Okay.
If you guys create any more boards, I'm gonna have
Are they
to.
implying, Austin, that you're old? Cause you're not.
No, he's young, he knows how to do it. I'm saying I'm old, Christina. I don't know how to do it.
I'm not on all these newfangled platforms, but I'm on some of them.
You're not newfangled enough.
I do like
Maybe
the
you can teach us.
I do like the idea of putting it on the website, Derek, and I do like the idea of going out in like January and saying, Parks Rec and Greenway as a board, okay, what do we want? Like, what can we ask people to do? Scouts or people who need, service work, things like that. I don't know if a horseshoe pit is actually on the drawing board. I think that's a great idea. But let's as a board think about like where we have an opportunity to do things, and let's get it on the website and see who can help. Again, people in the community want to help and they want to give back. They just don't know how to do it sometimes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we don't lose anything.
Nope.
By pitching it. All right. So the last thing then is I do have a scout I've been dialoguing with, and usually I will bring the project idea to you guys. His idea is to put in a sand volleyball court at the park. His rationale is that the high school now has teams. When I was working in the school system, I did see that beach volleyball was starting up as like a club sport and was gaining popularity. And he said they really don't have a place to practice. And so he thinks it would get a lot of good use, and it would be a destination for the Marvin Ridge team.
Is this an Eagle Scout project?
Yes.
Okay.
To have practices and potentially, I guess, matches too, if it's a regulation court. So,
And
typically, we've always tried to maintain the look and the feel of the park. But I just thought I'd bring it to you guys to discuss.
who would maintain the sand and cleaning it and getting the debris out and replacing sand after it's been built?
So always falls on park staff.
Yeah.
I mean,
sand.
Well, here's the thing.
I don't have a lot of experience.
If you're
but
doing that and there is an actual club team locally that's doing it, I mean, I would push it off to that now. You don't know if they're going to be in existence in 2 or 3 years,
Yeah.
But at that point, you make a decision, but if it's built the way that one needs to be built and stuff like that, I guess the question is you talk about having matches there and stuff, and then you're talking about bringing a bunch of people in for the matches. There's going to be 10 people on a team, and there's going to be a visiting team.
Beach is 2v2.
The what?
Beach volleyball is 2v2.
Oh, it's just one of the 2-person courts.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
but at the same time, we built this park as a passive park, right?
Passive.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems very active to me.
Yeah, I don't know where you would classify beach volleyball. I mean, if I'm having a church picnic, I would take a beach ball out there and have some fun with the kids, hitting it back and forth. I don't. Like I said,
I don't really see it.
Discussion.
When you say it's beach volleyball and it's 2, that kind of makes a big difference to me too, because it would be there for the other families and stuff to hit balls around, and I'm sure they would,
Where would they want to put it? Did you guys look at
where
a
would we
spot?
want to put it? Yeah,
Mhm.
that's the.
No. Okay. I don't know. For me, it's the maintenance of it, because you got to figure it's going to be surrounded by probably wood planks, right, or something.
I don't think
Otherwise,
on a-
you've got sand.
On a beach volleyball court, I think you
Taper it.
slope in,
Okay.
and then you come to a depth,
Okay.
but it's just a gradual off
So
of
you've gotta,
grass.
but you've gotta clean that, I mean, the sand's gotta be cleaned, and you're gonna have animals doing their business in that, and, I mean, you are.
Ken doesn't want to do this.
Ken does not gotta be out there with the poop
I don't know
truck.
how to, I don't know how to clean sand.
I'm not yes or no, I'm just saying, I think there's more to it than just, I think there's gonna be a lot more maintenance to it than we
Yeah,
think. This-
well, it
this
would come to
might be.
you guys eventually. I just, you know,
I should keep my mouth shut, sorry.
I know when I was in high school, the local park, Mint Hill built a really nice big new park, and we ended up at the park every afternoon playing beach volleyball. But as to Kim's point, the park was built as passive recreation, so I think we would need to decide.
Well,
You guys would need to
but I don't
decide
think,
if that-
I think that what we were talking about, active recreation versus passive
No
recreation,
games, no whistles.
it is more games.
Organized
and
sports.
organized sports, and not wanting to have a little league team that, you know, you've got
Yeah.
people coming in and, we did have plans for fields,
Yeah.
you know, and, you know, kids can play catch, kids, you know, and I kind of see a volleyball net, you know, whether it's sand or grass, you know, as something that, you know, you would keep in mind even with a passive park. It's just a physical activity that you can do there, you know, where it's not, you know, a league sponsored thing, you know.
Well, then
or
I
anything
think
like
that if that's kind of the route that you're thinking, then we cannot have the high school having games or practices or whatever there, like as the Eagle Scout was trying to.
Well, that's why I was
navigate.
wondering if it's only two. I don't know.
Didn't we write like an ordinance that said,
I think we did for the
10
soccer shots.
10 or less? Groups,
Groups of 10 or
would be
less.
10
or
or less.
something.
Yeah, I think so, something like
I mean,
that.
we've got trail running groups and, you know,
Again,
Soccer.
I'm just
soccer clinics,
I'm
we've
just
got
thinking of the
exercise
maintenance portion of
classes.
it.
We don't have, you would have a whistle if you had a game there. I wouldn't be worried about it. I wouldn't be worried about the maintenance. I would be worried about you know, the feel, the.
Listen,
it's in
I think a volleyball court at a park is a great idea.
It's a natural to me. And
I
if I'm bringing
think
my
so,
family
too.
out to the picnic, you know, I'm coming out to use the picnic area. I got volleyball area not too far away. I got 4 kids or 3 kids, and they can beat themselves to death with the ball in the net. I think it's a
Well,
great
here's the thing
asset.
too, it's gotta be level, and there's
Yeah.
not a lot of level places on that park without doing grading and worrying about water,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Because that sand will be washed out in 9 out of 10 places you might wanna put it, you know? So I
Sure.
guess that's the question, do you put it in the corner of one of our existing fields? Do you find a little convenient but out of the way spot, because it only needs to be so big, and you put it in, you know?
So how do you want to proceed? Do you want the Eagle Scout to come and present to you guys before you make a recommendation to council? Or do you want me to meet with them and
I'd
discuss it
probably
more?
have you meet with them first, because you've got to
Or
understand
Dana meet with them?
the what.
Dana?
Yeah. But, or even I would, you know, but
Where it's gonna go.
yeah, where it's gonna go is important anything. Number one, to keeping it healthy and maintained as a volleyball court, and number two, being in concert
Not a
with
litter box.
everything else that we're trying
Not a litter box.
to keep going. That's what I
Gives on
would,
poop scoop.
all the stray cats of the neighborhood, yeah.
No, we'll just require them to put up a fence with signage. No pets allowed.
No, this is not a litter box.
Yeah.
So Derek to meet with the Eagle Scout about location.
I reckon so. So not a yes, but not a no.
Yeah, because it'd have to, there's a lot of things that would go into making it fit in the right spot and stuff like that.
But it's a natural thing out there. I like that.
Yeah. My neighbor just put in one and it looks pretty good from
So
the
you know
road.
what?
My neighbor just put in one, it looks good from the road.
Yeah.
Okay, thank y'all, that's all I have. Wow.
You can say that again.
All right.
Hey, we got a lot accomplished.
Yeah. we did.
Agenda
That's one
items,
website.
Austin, review.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Okay, so the board will have more ideas for the Pocket Park at the January meeting. Derek will research competitive rates for professional passes for parks. Derek will research sponsorship structures. I cannot talk with this mask on.
I'd be glad to take that off you.
The sponsorship structure.
Going out and looking, getting up with communities in terms of professional fees, donations, so on and so forth.
Awesome.
If you'd like that done, I'd
Yep.
be glad to do it for you.
I'll put your name beside it.
Okay, we'll say Bob will do that. Okay. Derek will meet with the Eagle Scout about the proposal for the volleyball court, including location of the court. I will post updates on social media and the website about the roundabout landscaping and the Telemorph Phase 2 trail. I will place discussion of pocket park proposals on the January meeting agenda. I will email other boards to ask for volunteers to help decorate the barn at the park for the holidays. And Rohit will create an updated trail map to be posted on the website. Did I miss anything?
I'm sure.
I also volunteered to create a more detailed map of park and gardens parks showing the existing
Wait, what?
numbers, like where the right of way is, where widening would be, how the
More
line.
detailed pocket park map.
Yeah.
Rohit will create a detailed pocket park map. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, probably aim to send it out this month. That's all I got. That we did not work today.
All right.
Awesome. Great meeting.
Board member comments. Christina, anything from you?
Other than thank you for supporting Marsh,
Yeah.
all of you.
Bob?
You good?
I'm good as well, Christina.
I'm good.
All right. Do I hear a motion on the table to dismiss the Village of Marvin Parks Recreation and Greenway Board meeting here at 11:09 a.m. on December 1st?
So moved.
Need a second?
Christina?
There you
All
go.
in favor say aye.
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 Bye.
All right. Thank you very much.